Hello, I'm Carter Schwarrow of AHS-TV. Today I'm joined by Sierra Anthony to talk about upcoming events in the 2021 school year. Would you please tell us a little bit about yourself to our viewers today?
Sure. So for the past 4 years I've been involved in chorus, and 3 years I've been a part of select choir. I also did musical for 2 years, and I also participate in cross country, tennis, and track. I also do worship leading at my church, and I'll be going to school for music education and worship leading.
Thank you. We're now going to take a closer look at the teachers' thoughts.
How did you feel about choir festivals this year compared to previous years?
Well, I thought they kind of stunk. It wasn't a typical experience, wasn't really a chorus. Most of the kids were just auditioning to move on. But the state chorus was an interesting event. They got to interact a little bit online and do a final performance, but it wasn't really chorus.
Do you feel your choir is prepared for the pre-concert rehearsal?
I think we're as prepared as we can be in an off year. It's difficult with masks and especially the spacing, but I think we're in a good place. We're ready to perform.
What are your expectations for this year's choir concert?
I expect it to go really well, and I expect the crowd to be super happy that we're finally back performing again.
Thank you. Is there anything you can tell us about what this year's yearbook looks like?
Why, no. However, I can tell you this. We are distributing it next Friday during field day, starting with seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, and then we'll do the junior high towards the end of the day.
How do you feel about the location of the senior trip this year?
I'm excited we get to go anywhere. Anywhere. When we started the year, they said absolutely no trips, no anything. So, I mean, if we were going to Speedy's for ice cream, it would be better than nothing.
What are your feelings towards this year's senior class?
They've had it tough. I feel bad that there's no musical. I feel bad that you haven't had any concerts. Fortunately, things are opening up for you. Hopefully we can make this end of the year very, very memorable for you. And you can think about it as the year we had to wear masks all year, but at least we had fun at the end of the year. Hopefully you can think of it that way.
All right, thank you. What were your feelings toward this year's hawkathon compared to previous years?
So actually, Mrs. McCauley and I were talking, and we really liked the way that it was set up this year. Being outside and also only being from 6 to 10. So we're hoping that moving forward that we'll also do the same setup for next year and then coming years as well. It seemed like everyone had a really good time, being outside. Maybe it was just because everyone's finally being with their friends again, but it just seemed like it just went so much more smoothly than in the past.
How do you think the junior and senior classes feel about this year's prom?
I'm sure they're a little bit disappointed that it's not at Lobby Hall and we're not getting this grand meal like we normally have, but I'm hoping that they at least say, hey, we're at least having a prom, so I'm hoping that they're feeling a little bit grateful that way.
What are your thoughts about this year's prom?
I'm kind of wishing that it would have been like in April, because right now I'm just feeling really stressed because it's at the end of the year and I've got 500 things going on. But other than that, I mean, it's coming together. We're getting there. The weather's supposed to be beautiful on Friday, so in the end, I think it's going to be fabulous.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, girls.
Thanks, Caitlin. I'm Carter Schwarrow of AHS-TV for those of you just joining in, and I'm joined today by Sierra Anthony to talk about previous and upcoming events in the 2021 school year. So Sierra, how has your experience with sporting events this year compared to other years in the past?
I definitely say it's a lot different because we have to socially distance before and after certain events, and just wearing a mask all the time is definitely frustrating, especially whenever you're out of breath from running. I'd also say that it was disappointing because we couldn't do as many invitational events this year.
Thank you. So second question, how did you feel about the State Chorus Festival this year compared to the previous years?
I'd definitely say it's a lot different because the fact that we had to do it over a Zoom call instead of just doing it in person like it usually is was definitely an adjustment because instead of being able to build relationships with those around you, which is my favorite part about it, we had to sit in a room the whole day and just stare at a computer screen, and we couldn't even hear each other sing. We had to sing with the mics muted, so it was definitely an adaptation for sure.
So overall, not a great experience then overall?
I wouldn't consider it the best experience. Past festivals were a lot of fun, but I would not like to do that again.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How has this experience made you feel about upcoming music events such as the Spring Chorus concert?
The Spring Chorus concert was definitely a lot of fun, and it made us feel a lot more back to normalcy, but the whole mask situation was definitely a change because whenever you're singing, it can be challenging when you're wearing a mask. But overall, I was very glad that we were able to put something on, especially for the seniors this year.
Do you think these changes will affect music events in the future?
I definitely do think that. I could see us having Zoom rehearsals for certain things like festivals and other things like that. And just in general, I have a feeling that we may have online rehearsals whenever we have snow days and things like that too.
Have these changes to past events make you feel any different about prom?
Definitely. This year I did not have the best prom, primarily because of the whole mask situation, but I definitely liked my proms in previous years.
And also it's our senior year prom. I mean, last prom we'll ever have, last dance we'll ever have in high school. I mean, it'd be pretty emotional.
It was pretty emotional, I agree, especially since we never got a true prom.
Yeah. Next question. How do you think your fellow classmates will feel about this year's prom?
I definitely think some of them enjoyed it, but a lot of other people that I've talked to said they didn't have the best of times. I think we all enjoyed Grand March though because we were able to have it at the Katanning Riverfront Park and a lot of us wanted it there, so it was nice.
What were your expectations for prom this year? Did you expect anything different than the actual outcome, or?
I was just expecting different music, I'd say.
Yeah.
More of the modern music. We had a lot of oldies.
Yeah.
A lot of 2016s.
So after prom, are you looking forward to field day?
I was looking forward to field day because I had never participated in field day before. So even if it wasn't the best outcome of a field day, I definitely just wanted to experience it.
So do you think this year's choir concert will be comparable to previous years?
Definitely not, just due to the fact that we had such little time to prepare. But I definitely say it's one of my favorite concerts we've ever had because the fact that we had so many solo opportunities was really enjoyable.
So what are your thoughts on this year's senior trip, particularly compared to other years?
I definitely wish that we could have gone to somewhere like New York City or, Canada like they did the one year. But I'm just glad in general that we were able to do something because the seniors last year weren't able to do something. And I've never been to Cedar Point before, and I know a lot of people haven't either. So even though it's not what we wanted, I feel like it will still be a fun experience.
Do you think the senior trip would have been different if not for the pandemic?
For sure. I feel like we possibly would have went to New York City, which is a whole different atmosphere, especially since it's more than one day.
Yeah, New York would have been cool, but I guess we gotta make do of COVID, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
So how do you feel about graduation coming up?
I'm excited, but I'm also pretty nervous, I feel like, because you have to walk in front of all those people, and it's the last time you might see some people, and you never know, you might see them again at Walmart in 20 years, but even then, there's a possibility you won't, so.
Well, you also do like choir and stuff. I know previously you were on big stages before. What makes this one different compared to?
It's like the final countdown.
Final countdown.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for this segment of the Best of the Nest. I'd like to thank Sierra for joining me today to talk about upcoming events in the 2021 school year.